Hey, happy Friday night. Mr. H here with you on Planet Earth episode 102. I waited a while because I wanted to see what would happen with Iran, and it looks like nobody knows anything. If there's one thing we've learned is that a war is easy to start, but it's not exactly easy to end. Of course, anyone who's paid attention to Iraq and Afghanistan can see that. Anyone who's played Civ 5 would know that. But, it is what it is. Welcome to the Middle East. It's not unusual for Middle Eastern agreements to fall apart. Good news is we see some ships coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, so it's starting to. They're still worried about mines and things of that nature. U.S. President J.D. Vance is supposed to go to Switzerland to sign an agreement with his Iranian counterpart. That got called off because Israel is attacking Hezbollah. So Iran says we won't sign until that stops. It's a violation of their memorandum of understanding. So, in other words, just another day in the Middle East. What have we learned from this? We call it a war. This conflict. All right. Well, we got lesson number one already handled. Right. It's easy to start a war. Not so easy to end it because the enemy gets a vote. What else have we learned? Drones are a game changer. Should have seen that with the Ukrainian Russian war, but apparently we didn't pick up on that until the war started there in the Gulf. The U.S. is knocking down these $50,000 Iranian drones. These are probably less than that with, $1 million Patriot missiles. So we're going to have to use more and more drones, kind of like kamikazes, to knock down the other drones. Of course, you could take them out with RPGs, manpads, gunfire, things of that nature. But drones are very hard to see. They're very hard to catch. They usually reach their target. They have much of a payload, but, like everything else, it gets better as life goes on. So drones are definitely something new. Something old, the aircraft carrier. A lot of people said today the aircraft carrier was kind of going away and submarines are the way to go. Anyone you know in particular? Yes, this guy in the middle of North Dakota tell you about naval strategy. But nonetheless, aircraft carriers are extremely useful, especially in a conflict like this, because, well, they carry a lot of airplanes and a lot of firepower. And if you have a basing agreement with, say, Saudi Arabia or Kuwait, and something happens that, they change their mind over, you got to sort of leave or convince them to let you stay. Whereas an aircraft carrier, you just kind of move around out on the open seas wherever you need to go. Also hard to hit these things. They've got a lot of support around them, at least 4 destroyers, cruisers, submarine hiding out there. Plus, you don't know where it is. It moves around. Ocean's pretty big. So very hard to hit an aircraft carrier. So those are what we've learned from the U.S.-Iran, I'm going to call it War of 2026, because it might not be over yet. There's the Strait of Hormuz, as you can see. There's stuff here in the middle. See this right here? Right there in the middle. That's how people usually, the south comes out and the north it comes in. There's a channel in the middle. Now you got some guys up here. But the Iranians are basically holding hostage. They're still trying to get them to pay a fee to get through, but this international waterway. So under the memorandum of understanding, you're not supposed to do that. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Some people were saying you should go down through these islands that belong to Oman. Yeah, there's an isthmus right there. You can't quite do that. Maybe if they cut a hole through there, maybe you can use that. But at the moment, as you can tell, there are ships coming through and going out. And they've actually turned on their transponders, so we actually know they're out there. Again, we will see how this turns out. Welcome to the Middle East. It never ends. Hey, so I was thinking about the oceanic white-tipped shark. That's not exactly prehistoric, is it? Actually, it is. It's been around since the Miocene, 23 million years ago, same time as our friend Megalodon. Except the oceanic white-tipped shark is a pelagic species. That means it lives out in the open waters, out in the, way out in the ocean. Whereas, great whites and before that Megalodon kind of tend to hang around the coast. I thought about the oceanic white-tipped shark because, we're talking about aircraft carriers can just cruise around somewhere way out there in the open ocean. It's hard to find. whereas oceanic white-tip sharks are very easy to find. In fact, they'll probably find you. Been around at least 23 million years. I have some teeth I found in the Morrison Formation down in South Carolina, one of my fossil hunting expeditions, me and Mrs. H. And yeah, found some of the teeth there. So they've been around a long time. Also found a Cleveland Brown championship banner. Yeah, it's been that long since they won anything. Steeler fan. Got to take a shot at the Browns. There's another view. It's a pretty impressive animal. I mean, it's, 13, 14 feet long. Could weigh 200, 250. These zebra-looking fish over here, those are called pilot fish. The ancient Greeks, obviously sailing around out in the Indian Ocean trade routes or even out into the Atlantic trying to find where Britain was, had a myth that said that the pilot fish guided the shark to food and the sharks kept the pilot fish safe with their jaws. So, Well, it looks like it's working out even after all these years. So, guess we'll find out. They like to eat off barnacles and things like that. Plus, they're too close. The shark can't really curve in to hit them either, right? Hey, these guys figured it out. Everybody knows about the white tip oceanic shark because of Jaws. Yeah, you thought it was just about the great white, huh? Remember Quint over there? Tired and I want to go home. Yeah, that guy. He was talking about the USS Indianapolis delivering the bomb, a bomb they're going to hit Japan with. On the way back, it was sunk by a Japanese sub. No distress call because it's top secret. He has a story about the sharks, swarming around, eating everybody. Apparently, some truth to this. He talks about seeing a tiger shark first, but and the tiger sharks are everywhere too. They tend to hang around the coast, but they will go out in the open ocean. And if you're in open ocean, the white-tip shark must have been there too. So I might explain why Quint didn't like sharks too much. And at the end of the day, great white gets them. Yeah, that's how it goes. Live by the sword, die by the sword. All righty, let's talk about some football, man. UFL championship. That was a success. We had Louisville starting off 0-3. They fight their way to a 6-4 record and take out St. Louis along the way. And off they go to Audi Field to play the hometown Defenders. The Defenders had an interesting year. Great start. Lost their QB. Lost a bunch of games. Got it back together. And, they fight their way through the playoffs, taking out Orlando. And there they are at home against Louisville. It was a great game. And Louisville won it 27-20. Good job, Louisville. This is DC's third appearance in a XFL/UFL championship. So they're 1-2. Kind of sucks to lose at home, though. And what a crowd, man. That was a sellout crowd. Some people say, I see empty seats. Oh, come on. If it's not an all-out sellout, it's at least 97% or something like that. And then I saw this picture floating around. Everyone saying, oh, they were lying about the attendance. Look at the empty seats. You never been to a football game, man? Okay, people are making beer runs, dude. And of course, you had the beer snake out there. The thing it just appears one day. People go to the bathroom. People go get a hot dog. People go a beer run. All right. And I don't know what part of the game this was. I don't see anybody on the field. So it's probably the game hasn't even started yet. So people are still getting to their seats. Just so many naysayers out there, man. Come on. Let's be optimistic about stuff. You woke up this morning. You're off to a great start. And you're listening to Planet Earth. Hey, the world is your oyster. Well, I'm going to run off now. I've just been watching to see what Iran does, and nobody seems to know anything that's going on. The U.S. is confused, and I think Iran is confused too. So we'll just sit back, watch some UFL highlights, and we'll just see what the world does, because the world is going to do what it is going to do. This is why aliens don't make contact. You look at this planet, yeah, I wouldn't waste my time here either. I'm here because, well, I don't really have much of a choice. But at least I get to hang out with you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. До свидания.